Take a deep breath and feel the air of the past. This is New York, but a New York you have never known. A place with no blaring horns, only the lonely clatter of horse hooves on damp cobblestone streets. Where dim gaslights struggle to push back the shadows, and in those hidden corners, a great city holds its breath, waiting. The Civil War's on the doorstep, a storm about to tear the nation, families and neighbors apart. This is not just a history lesson. This is a story of survival, of hope and despair, woven into the very fabric of the streets. Let's step together into the first chapter of this tragic and epic decade. If your heart feels the echo, please share this video and subscribe. Now, let's begin. Before us stands Brooklyn City Hall. But make no mistake, this was not yet a borough of New York. In the 1860s, Brooklyn was a powerful, independent city of its own, a true rival to Manhattan across the river. This stately building was more than just a workplace for politicians. During the Civil War decade, this was where life or death decisions were made, where fathers and husbands enlisted, and where news from the front lines was awaited with bated breath and hope. These very walls bore witness to it all. Look out at this water. This is the South Ferry Terminal, seen from Whitehall Street in 1860. The East River wasn't just a border between two cities, it was the lifeblood, the main highway of the 19th century. These sailboats, as peaceful as they may seem, were part of a massive commercial engine running at full steam. They moved goods, connected people, and carried news of a nation teetering on the brink of war. Every wave here tells a story of the era's ambition and anxiety. In a decade defined by turmoil, moments of peace like this were more precious than ever. This is Prospect Park, a grand project that was just beginning to take shape in the 1860s. It was created to be a green lung, an escape from the grit of the industrial city. The young woman pausing at the drinking fountain is doing more than just quenching her thirst. She is living a revolutionary idea, a public space for all, a place for the soul to rest, even as the nation was torn apart by war. This tranquil scene holds a tragic truth. This is Sylvan Lake in Greenwood Cemetery. As the Civil War raged, this peaceful destination for leisurely strolls slowly became the final resting place for young soldiers. The quiet beauty of the lake and its weeping willows silently witnessed and absorbed the city's grief as its sons returned not in glory, but in eternal silence. This is one of the original rustic shelters designed for Prospect Park by Frederick Law Olmsted and Calvert Vaux. This structure, with its thatched roof and rough-hewn wood, was a signature of their design philosophy. Its primary purpose was functional, to provide shelter from rain and sun and a place of rest for visitors. It was a public feature, embodying the vision of a democratic park where all social classes could find relaxation. This is one of the ferry terminals in Brooklyn Heights, the primary gateway to Manhattan. In the 1860s, before the construction of the Brooklyn Bridge, the steam ferry system was the only form of mass transit between the two cities. This building was an essential hub, serving tens of thousands of daily commuters, from laborers to merchants. It was a symbol of the economic and social interdependence that defined the rapidly growing metropolitan area. This is the Binnen Bridge and Waterfall, one of the first man-made landscape features in Prospect Park. Designed by Olmsted and Vaux, the waterfall was part of the park's complex watercourse system. The rustic wooden bridge was intentionally built to blend into the natural wilderness aesthetic the designers wanted to create. It quickly became a popular attraction, demonstrating the success of bringing a piece of the wild into the heart of the city. This is the precursor to the famous Brooklyn Heights Promenade. In the 1860s, this area was already an affluent residential neighborhood, prized for its panoramic views of the harbor and the Manhattan skyline. The elegant houses you can partially see in the background belonged to powerful merchants and bankers. This cobblestone path and its sturdy barrier weren't just a walkway, They were a symbol of the prosperity and status of Brooklyn as an independent city. This is the monument to Charlotte Kanda in Greenwood Cemetery, who died in a tragic accident in 1845. By the 1860s, this was one of the most famous graves in America, drawing countless visitors. Against the somber backdrop of the Civil War, this elaborate tomb and the tragic story of a young life cut short resonated deeply. It became a powerful icon of grief and the complex mourning rituals of the Victorian era. This is the monument of Joseph Correja, a steamship captain who died in a catastrophic boiler explosion in 1856. Located in Greenwood Cemetery, the structure is notable for its maritime symbols like an anchor and rope. In the 1860s, it served as a stark reminder of the dangers of industrialization. Accidents like Correja's were common, and this monument not only honored an individual but also reflected the fragility of life in the age of the machine. This bust, the Griffith Memorial, is a prime example of Victorian funerary art in Greenwood Cemetery. During the 1860s, when death was a tragic part of daily life due to the Civil War, sculptures like this held special significance. They were more than just grave markers. They were an attempt to immortalize the beauty and virtue of the deceased, offering solemn comfort to the family in an era defined by loss. This quaint stone building is the Dairy in Prospect Park. Completed in the late 1860s, its original purpose was practical, to provide fresh milk and light refreshments for children. In an era where urban food quality was a major concern, this was a public health initiative. It embodied the park's vision as a place not just for leisure, but for nurturing the health of Brooklyn's future generations. This is the Congregational Church on Clinton Avenue. In the 1860s, Protestant churches in Brooklyn were often vital centers of the abolitionist movement. When the Civil War broke out, these places became more than just sanctuaries for prayer. They were community rallying points, where powerful sermons bolstered support for the Union cause, and where families sought comfort as news from the front lines arrived. Standing on one of the highest points in Greenwood Cemetery, we look out over South Brooklyn in 1860. The landscape reveals an area still with much open space in the process of urbanization. This panoramic view was part of Greenwood's appeal as a popular, rural cemetery. However, during the Civil War decade, it was from this very spot, amidst this tranquil beauty, that countless families stood to bury their young soldiers, looking out over the city they died to protect. This is the Oak Bridge, a prominent feature within Prospect Park. Despite its name, its ornate framework and railings were actually made of cast iron, a modern material for the time. Designed by Olmsted and Vaux, this bridge served more than just a functional purpose. It was a work of art, blending industrial engineering with Gothic revival aesthetics, demonstrating the ambition to make the park a complete, curated landscape. This is the expansive Prospect Park Lake, a 19th century engineering marvel. This entire lake is man-made, hand-dug from what was originally swampland. Its construction in the 1860s was a massive undertaking, showcasing Brooklyn's ambition. For the city's residents living through the war-torn decade, this lake was more than just a scenic view. It was a symbol of creation, of man's ability to forge peace and beauty, even in the darkest of times. This is the Litchfield Villa, a lavish Italianate mansion. It was originally the private property of railroad developer Edwin Litchfield. During the 1860s, as Prospect Park was being planned, this villa stood directly on the required land. After negotiations, the city of Brooklyn acquired the estate late in the decade. This grand private residence would then become the park's headquarters. a symbol of the transition from private wealth to public space. This was not a decoration. This pyramid of cannonballs in Brooklyn Heights was a tangible, chilling reminder of the ongoing Civil War. These cannonballs, neatly stacked, were likely stockpiled for the defense of New York Harbor. For the residents who walked past it, it was a daily symbol of the conflict, of the sons and husbands fighting far away, and of the threat that was ever present, even at home. This photograph captures the residence of A.F. Kinberg at 242 Henry Street, a typical address in the affluent Brooklyn Heights neighborhood. This federal-style home, with its symmetrical windows and brownstone stoop, was emblematic of the upper class. While the Civil War brought turmoil, neighborhoods like Brooklyn Heights largely maintained their prosperity. This house wasn't just a home, it was a statement of status and stability in a decade of profound uncertainty. This is one of the shelters or arbors in Prospect Park. These vine-covered arch structures were designed to provide shade and a place for rest. The photograph captures a cross-section of Brooklyn society at the time: gentlemen in formal attire, a mother with a baby carriage, and working men. The park was one of the few places where different social classes could coexist, creating a truly democratic public space. This scene is not in Brooklyn. This is Saratoga Springs, the summer playground for America's ultra-wealthy. The small building on the left is Congress Spring, where people came to drink the medicinal mineral water. While the nation was engulfed in the Civil War, the elite still flocked to grand hotels like the one in the background. This photograph reveals a stark contrast, a world of luxury and leisure, completely detached from the sacrifice and suffering gripping the country. From this high vantage point, we see Fulton Street, Brooklyn's commercial spine. In the 1860s, this thoroughfare was a relentless river of people and horse-drawn traffic. It was lined with shops and offices, and it was where the city's economic pulse was felt most strongly. While the war raged elsewhere, here the daily grind of commerce continued, powering a growing city. This is the magnificent entrance gate to Greenwood Cemetery, completed in 1861, just as the Civil War began. This Gothic revival structure was more than just an entrance. It was a symbolic threshold where the bustling world of the living met the silent realm of the dead. Throughout that bloody decade, countless soldiers' funerals passed through this gate, making it a silent witness to the grief and loss of an entire generation. This is 39 Fulton Street, a typical busy commercial corner in Brooklyn. The signs advertise the economy's diversity, from Wheeler and Wilson sewing machines, a modern technology, to Phelps and Son pianos, a luxury item. This photograph shows that even in the midst of the Civil War, daily life and commerce continued strongly, supplying goods and services to a growing city. This photograph shows a view from the City Hall steps, looking towards the imposing Garfield Building. In the 1860s, this area was the administrative and civic heart of Brooklyn. The presence of a large, modern structure like the Garfield Building next to City Hall demonstrated the city's ambition and economic power, asserting its status as a major, independent, and thriving metropolis. This is the Kings County Courthouse, or the Brooklyn Courthouse. Incredibly, construction on this massive structure began in 1861, just as the Civil War erupted. While the nation was being torn apart, Brooklyn was making a powerful investment in a symbol of law and order. This building wasn't just a court, it was a statement of confidence, a bet on the future of the Union and on Brooklyn's own prominence. This is the Nethermead Arches, one of the most significant architectural features in Prospect Park. Built in the 1860s, it embodied a revolutionary design idea: the separation of traffic. The path below was for pedestrians and horse riders, while the bridge above carried carriage traffic across. This design ensured safety and tranquility, a vision of urban planning that was far ahead of its time. In 1860, just before America plunged into civil war, a global event unfolded in Brooklyn. This crowd is eagerly awaiting the first ever Japanese diplomatic embassy to visit the West. After over 200 years of isolation, samurai ambassadors were here. This wasn't just a political visit, it was a meeting of two worlds, a moment of intense curiosity and profound wonder. This isn't Brooklyn, but the financial center of the nation, Wall Street in Manhattan, 1860. Dominating this cobblestone canyon is Trinity Church, then the city's tallest building. The spire of God looked down upon the Street of Mammon, a powerful contrast. At this very moment, as the nation was about to be torn apart by the Civil War, it was here that financial panic was spreading, and the immense wealth generated would soon fund the conflict. From the cobblestone streets, still echoing with the clatter of horse hooves, to parks created as peaceful oases. From the bustling ferry terminals to ambitious works of architecture. These photographs are not just images, they are the foundation, the very first bricks that built the New York we know today. Every building, every street is a chapter in the story of this metropolis's beginnings. Thank you for joining us for part 1. Subscribe to the channel to explore the next fascinating journeys through New York with us. Goodbye, and see you next time.